Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. We have yet another gorgeous delivery of some beautiful shrubs arriving from Gossett's Nursery. First time ordering from Gossett's, and so far super excited with what they are bringing us. So we're going to show you the plants, and then we have got a lot of work to do here at the nursery. I am going to spend today cleaning up the big flower bed between the barn and the greenhouse. It is in desperate need. So if you want to learn how to prune like spireas and butterfly bushes, sunshine ligustrums, panicle hydrangeas, distiliums, perennial grasses, going to be working on that. And then we're just going to kind of go through today here at the nursery, because today is Thursday. We open on Saturday for this season. So Creekside Nursery, the garden center, will be open now for the 2025 season. In February, it's just Saturdays. So there's 2 Saturdays that we're going to be open, so 9 to 3. And then beginning the first week of March, we will be open Wednesdays through Saturday. The weather doesn't look so good for us this week on this Saturday, but we're praying that the rains hold off and that we have a fantastic opening day. So if you're in the area, we would love to see you. We're going to get this truck unloaded, and then I'm going to come back through and show you what we got. But y'all, these right here, big old forever goldies. Yes, they are gorgeous. So great evergreen chartreuse tree that will work really well here in the South. We've got a ton of the Perfecto Mundo azaleas. I know we've got that. I see lots of hydrangeas. Yeah, so lots of gorgeous things. I'm going to get off here so I can be of assistance to our people. I'll see you back here in a second. All right, my friends, so the truck is pulled away. We've got everything unloaded and kind of put into blocks. That way we can go ahead and put the barcodes on them and then get them distributed out to where they belong here at the nursery. So let's go over real quick what we got in here. So excited. You will see we have a huge block right here. The proven winners, this is the Perfecto Mundo double white azalea. Now there's 50 in here. We got a ton of them because one, obviously we need to have them here at the nursery, but two, we're going to use about probably half of these in that landscape project at the house, combination of like the privacy berm and then that flower bed beside of the driveway. So these are gorgeous reblooming azaleas, beautiful double white flower. These are going to be about 3 feet tall, 4 feet wide. Full sun, full to part sun, hardy in 6B to 9. Love this. So you can see, like these were the blooms from last year. You can just clean them up and just pull them off. In the landscape, they will self-clean. We don't have this problem in the landscape. They were just probably underneath some cover, and so there you go. Beautiful plants. You can see they already have buds for this spring. I have, like, look at those. Oh my gosh, look at those huge buds. Buds all over the place. I have the double white in the new terrace garden, like the cottage garden extension. Planted them in the fall and they are gorgeous. They had 0 burn on them, even though we had, you know, 2 or 3 weeks of, for us, cold weather, like nights in the 16s. And they did great. So I've been really pleased with how well that the double whites held up in the landscape. Gorgeous, beautiful, doing super well. So you've got the double white, then the really popular, we have the double pink. Obviously, we don't have quite as many of those because we're not going to be using those in the landscape projects. And so again, just a nice soft baby doll pink. Basically is going to be, I believe it's roughly the same size, a little bit smaller, 2 to 3 tall and wide. So you've got the double pink. And then up here at the top, we have the double purple, which is that combo of kind of a little bit of a deep pink / purple, and then this will be basically the same size as the white one. So 3 tall, 4 wide. Again, absolutely covered in massive buds. So stinking excited. We also grabbed some of the forsythias from Proven Winners. This is the little one. This is the Show Off Sugar Baby. Y'all, growing up, we called these yellow bells. They are a forsythia, but the Show Off series, you can see, like, look at the number of buds. And that's what I love about these show offs, is that They bloom from the base all the way up. These are all going to be flowers, but they're absolutely covered in buds. So the show off sugar baby is going to be a small one. So it's not going to be as big. Like show off is a good size one. This is like 2.5 tall and wide. So if you have a small space that you want to put a nice big splash of bold color first thing in the spring, show off sugar baby is going to be the one for you. These are the ones we've already had gotten the other day. Then the Winecraft Black Smoke Bush. I was so excited to see this on the availability. Smoke bushes do really well for us, at least this Winecraft does. Here in North Carolina, obviously this is going to be the black one. I'm still on the hunt for the gold because I do love the gold. This is going to be hardy in zones 4 to 6 feet tall and wide. It is obviously a deciduous shrub, but when it flowers, I say flowers out, buds out, it will be these nice big black leaves on it. Gorgeous color. So on the back side, this shows the blooms. And then on the back that's the color that you're going to get throughout the growing season. Absolutely gorgeous color contrast for these Forever Goldies, y'all. I do love this Forever Goldie arborvitae. We've got them in 2 sizes. I want to say that this is probably the 5-gallon size, and that might be a 15. It's hard to tell right here, but these are good size, gorgeous evergreen trees. Forever Goldie is not going to get too massive, so it's going to be a great accent. Yeah, I think that's a 15-gallon. But y'all, the color on these. I have a Forever Goldie up at the chicken coop, and it is in horrible red clay soil, no irrigation, hot sun, and doing super well. I planted it when it was small, so mine is roughly maybe about the size of this 5-gallon now. Hopefully maybe by the end of the season, it can be about this size. So we'll just have to kind of play with that. But these Forever Goldies would make a gorgeous, absolutely stunning. You could use it as a specimen plant, like on the side of your house. You could use it as, like, if you want to do a privacy screen, you could do this, put those in there, put something like nice dark green, put a smoke bush, you know, in front of it for an accent. You're going to have a ton of color contrast in your garden with this plant. If you're looking to attract your songbirds, this is a great one because this time of year, it gives them lots of protection in the winter. So they'll go in there and hang out in those cold nights. And so this is a great way to bring in the habitat and protection for those songbirds. So love that. In that same color family, we got some Anna's Magic Ball. Again, this is from Proven Winners. It is still an arborvitae, but instead of being a tree, this is going to be a nice little shrub. Obviously, given its name, Anna's Magic Ball is going to be a nice rounded shape naturally, 10 to 15 tall and wide. So it says it's hardy in zones 3 to 7. It will do well here for us in the south. Definitely is going to be a shade plant though, because it is listed on the tag as full to part sun. Because we're in a zone 8, this needs to be like in filtered sun, morning sun, afternoon shade. If you put this in full sun, especially in the afternoon, it's probably going to fry, but it does really well in those shadier conditions and a nice petite shape that you're not going to have to prune. Like this is a plant it and forget it kind of plant right here. So got some Anna's Magic Balls, and then hydrangeas. So we have Wee Bit Grumpy and Wee Bit Giddy. And yes, they are already starting to flush out some of that beautiful new growth. I have macrophylla hydrangeas that are pushing out new growth at the house. So this is completely appropriate for this time of year. You can absolutely go ahead and plant these. Wee Bit Grumpy is going to be pH dependent, so you're going to either get that really rich purple or that hot red pink. It is going to be 2 feet tall, 2.5 feet wide. So that is Grumpy. Then you've got Giddy. Giddy's going to have a little bit more of a of a white eye in it, not quite as rich, deep purple, a little bit of like a lavender kind of color. Still that 2 feet by 2.5 feet. Love both of these, are great. And then the Let's Dance Rhythmic Blue. This is going to be, again, all of these are macrophyllus, so these are going to be those reblooming hydrangeas that you get that pH dependent color. So either the blue or the pink. Nice tight heads on it. This is going to be like a 4x4. So you're going to have a size difference between these. Again, you can never have too many hydrangeas in your garden. It's all about the size and the light conditions. So that's just key when you're going to your in your garden and you're thinking about placement. It's like, okay, what are your light conditions and what size do you want? So the Rhythmic Blue, and then one of my favorites, the Let's Dance Blue Jangles. Blue Jangles is going to be have bigger like leaf petals, flower petals than maybe the Rhythmic Blue. This is still going to be that great reblooming macrophylla. 2 feet tall, 3 feet wide, and it's going to be definitely in that more shadier conditions, that morning sun, afternoon shade. So we've got those. Oh yeah, 2 more things. Super excited because it is camellia season here in the South, right? So it is Sasanqua camellia, not Sasanqua, Japonica camellia season. Japonicas bloom, basically it depends on where you are, but say anywhere from like January through March, all right? Your Sasanquas bloom in the fall. These are winter bloomers. You know that too immediately by looking at them to tell the difference at their leaves. So Japonicas have a nice big leaf. A Sasanqua will have a leaf about the size of your thumb. So this is a Japonica, so it means it blooms in the later winter time. Y'all, this is high fragrance camellia. Oh my gosh. So as its name suggests, guess what? It has a lovely fragrance, and it is the most gorgeous, big, frilly, double flower, pale pink. I've got the Kubota over here, and I've already grabbed one and put it in the back of my Kubota because it's going home with me. And so these have buds on them. You can see like this one right here has got a little bud here. Then there's a big bud right there. So you can tell from its habit is going to be much more upright, kind of that columnar size. And so love the high fragrance, very excited. And then last but certainly not least, Distilliums. So this is the Swing Low Distillium. This is a beautiful low evergreen swing low, as its name suggests, is going to be about 3 feet tall, but 4 to 6 feet wide. Y'all, I love Distilliums. I'm going to show them to you in the landscape here in just a second, but it's deer resistant, evergreen, and these against those Forever Goldies, would be absolutely stunning. So we have got a lot of plant moving to do, and we have yet another truck delivery coming tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. This is coming from Hawks Ridge, and we've got a whole nother selection of stuff coming from them. Now, let's talk about what I am going to do, because I have got quite the day ahead of me as far as taking care and giving some love to the garden. So we have this flower bed that we put in years ago, basically between, this is obviously the greenhouse, the retail greenhouse. We've got this huge hedge of perennial grasses that need to be taken care of. They, as you can see, they're a beast. They've already started to drop their foliage, so I am going to completely cut all of them back, just whack them back. Now, if you're gonna ask me, we get asked all this time, like what this grass is. Honestly, I don't know, because it's all Mimi's fault, my mama. So years and years ago, she had this grass, and it will do this, the little plumes at the end of the season. Well, it is very prolific. So when those little seed heads, when the plant is happy and where it's supposed to be, it will poof those little seeds, and you will have a gazillion of these grasses everywhere. So this is where she ended. So she gave them to me. Don't ask me why. She gave them to me, and then I planted them, and then they poofed everywhere, and I had all of these grasses, and I was like, okay, they have got to get out of my yard. We brought them over here and put them on the bank. They don't spread here because I think they don't get enough sun, because the tree line is protecting them and they don't get the amount of sun that they're supposed to, so they don't spread. The clumps have gotten bigger, but they're not spreading. So I'm gonna come in here and show you how to trim back a perennial grass. It's not hard, but get all of this cleaned up. Then, y'all, we did not prune this bed last year, and it shows. These are abelias. I'm pretty sure they're kaleidoscope abelias. That is every bit of 5 feet wide. I am going to take the hedge trimmers in here, and I am going to completely just cut this back really, really strongly, because you can see now, one is that time of year, right? It is that time of year in February. Things are looking a little rough, but they are starting to push out new growth. We've got a little, it's really hard to see because it's so tiny, but we've got a little leaf bud right here. So this is a great time to prune your abelias. We're going to come in here and cut them. This is a distilium. So that's same as that swing low. I don't know if this is a swing low. I'd have to go back and look at the video because it's been so many years. So I'm going to show you how to prune a distilium. These are little lime punches. They need to be taken care of. We will do those as well. We have got the Grand Cascade butterfly bush and the sunshine ligustrums. Now, remember when I said that this bed does not get as much sun as these plants need? And that shows up in my sunshine ligustrums and my butterfly bushes. If this got 3-4 more hours than what it does right now, then those would be insanely gorgeous. The rest of it are a little bit more adaptable. Those need more sun. So they're slightly on the struggle bus, but we're gonna give them a prune as well. So then that just repeats all the way down here. It's that same, we picked a pattern and just repeated it all the way down. Now, down here on the corner, we have 3 quick fire hydrangeas. So we need to go ahead and prune those as well. Cece was telling us that we had like a mudslide, and can you see that right here? We got last night, I do not know, we don't have a rain gauge out because we're afraid it's gonna freeze. We got massive rain last night because this was not here yesterday. So that means there was tons of water coming off of that hill. It wasn't flooding per se, but like our driveway was full of water, and we've been able to see other areas where water is just absolutely gushing. So we got a ton of rain last night, and so that's the effect of that. But we're gonna go ahead and prune these back pretty well. Show you how to do all that. So it is a full day here at the garden center, both doing maintenance and taking care of these plants. Got to get the garden center looking good for opening day. We'll see you back here in a second because I'm gonna go gather all my tools. I'll see you here with my tools, go through it, and then we're just gonna get after it. All right, my friends, so we're gonna start on this end with the quick fire hydrangeas, and we're gonna work our way down the bank, and we're gonna end with the grasses. In my brain, it's easier and quicker to prune the hydrangeas than it is to start with those grasses, because that's gonna be a lot of debris to pick up, and we're gonna start with the easy part. Now, I have done videos on how to prune your panicle hydrangeas. In this flower bed, that's all I have. I have the quick fire, which gets nice and big, beautiful, open flowers, massive pollinator attractor, has a nice, lovely, sweet fragrance to it. There's 3 of them here. I am going to prune them basically right above where they got pruned last year. And so that will be almost back by half. These are nice, fast growers. Over here on my right, as we make our way down, there are those little lime hydrangeas. Those 2 are going to be panicles. I will then kind of do the same thing. If you know where those 2 little leaf nodes are, prune right above that. I will link that video where I showed you exactly detail how to prune your panicle hydrangeas, so you can reference that if you want more in depth. Basically, what you can think of is your panicles and your arborescents, that you can bring them back easily by a 1/3 or a 1/4, or if they're nice and big and you want to keep them within that size, you can go a 1/2. Personally, don't like to go more than a 1/2 on those hydrangeas, because if we do, Then we create weak floppy stems, and you can see that these are very upright, very strong stems, and so that is what we're going to do. I've got the Kubota pulled right here beside of me, so I can just clip these and put them in. I am going to be using my Felcos with these guys. On my hydrangeas, I'm going to use the Felcos. Everything else, I'm going to use the hedge trimmer. I am not going to be precise at all. I absolutely could use the hedge trimmer on these. It's just my little gardener's heart. I like to use my Felcos so that I have a more precise cut. The sunshine ligustrums, the abelias, even the butterfly bushes, they're fine. They do not care. I just like to take care of my hydrangeas just a little bit. So again, there's a lot to be done. So I'm just going to set the camera up, take care of these, and then once I hit like the abelias, distiliums, I'll do a really quick overview of what you need to do and how you can prune those. All right, y'all, so the quickfire hydrangeas have been pruned. Just going to give you a quick little look-see so you can see how much I pruned them back by. Try to get every limb at least cut somewhere. So giving it just a nice little trim. I do like these being big. That's why we put them on this corner so they can get as massive as they want. To kind of give you an idea of how I did that as far as when choosing to cut. So this would have been like last year's cut. And so if you can see, hopefully, there's one set of leaves, two set of leaves, buds. So I went above the second one. And that way, like, look how nice and thick and strong this is. It'll continue to branch, give me tons and tons of flowers, but I do want these to get nice and big as they possibly can. So that is why I didn't take them back any further. If you wanted to keep them smaller, obviously you can cut more. If you ever doubted that when we say we have water literally seeping out of the ground, yeah, so I'm sitting here pruning, and can you see those little air bubbles right here? This is where the water is literally coming out of the ground. There is a hole right there, and it is seeping out. So there is a little spring right there, and water just absolutely flows out of the banks. So yeah, Creekside is correctly named because creek, water flowing everywhere. When I say it is wet, it is incredibly wet. All right, now for the sake of time and for this video not being 10 hours long, I am going to give you a quick overview of what I'm going to do, and then I'll just set the big camera up. We'll do a little montage of me pruning this. Otherwise, if I take you plant by plant, section by section, we'll be here all day long. And time is of the essence, both for me and for you, because I have got a lot of work to be done. With these distiliums, right, they are huge, which is what we love. Distiliums also this time of year will start to put on these like maroon flowers. They're not opened up yet. These are like the little buds. I don't know if the camera will allow that to show, but that is the bloom power for a distilium. Very insignificant, but if you're up close, they certainly are pretty. I want to take this back a little bit because I did not prune these last year. So what I'm going to do, they have this freeform habit. You want them to have this freeform habit, but I do need to keep them a little controlled and nice and tight. So for example, we've got this big limb, so I will take it all the way back down to here. Maybe I'll trim off just a little bit of this, but overall, see how it's getting into that sunshine ligustrum? Shape it up. I'm not gonna make it into a ball, but I am going to prune it. Like, so we've got this limb. So we're gonna bring her back, probably back to like right here. So cut off a good little amount of that. This I will probably still do with my pruners so I can be a little bit more precise. Probably use my hand pruners on the hydrangeas, kind of the same thing, little lime hydrangeas as the quick fires. And then for my abelias, I've got my hedge trimmers, and I'm literally going to go and I'm going to go zzz. So I am going to take a ton of this plant off because they were not pruned last year. They show it and they look bad. Same thing with the sunshine ligustrum. If your sunshine ligustrum look like this at this time of year, very thin, like you can barely even see it, that's totally normal. It's like they lose their leaves and then they flush back out in the spring. I'm going to whack it back really good too. Again, not being precise, use those hedge trimmers and just saw them off. Same thing with my butterfly bushes. Technically, I should wait a little bit longer for my butterfly bushes until it gets consistently warmer, but guess what? I'm in the space, so I'm going to go ahead and prune them. They will get cut back at least by half. So really going to bring some things down here. I wish we could put down mulch today, like blow some of this, get some of this cleaned up and put mulch down, but it is so incredibly wet. It will make an absolute mess. So we're not gonna do that today. We're just gonna focus on pruning, cutting back, cleaning up, and then we still have those, still got the grasses to do, my friends. This is why moving with purpose. All right, I'll see you when this part's done and we'll hit the grasses. My friends, it is 3:40 in the afternoon. Okay, I don't know if I'm the only one that has this problem of that my brain says, oh my gosh, you can get X, Y, and Z done all today. And then reality hits and I get X done. So that is a case for today. I got the whole bank is pruned. So praise the Lord for that. The cleanup and the mulch and the fertilizing, that will be tomorrow's problems. That is not today's problems. But it is, oh my goodness. Y'all, don't be afraid to prune your shrubs, especially going out of winter and coming into spring, which is what we are doing here in North Carolina. And so you can see from the debris field, like I pruned these plants. It was a little alarming maybe at first for some of those plants and some of our staff as they were working, and they came and they're like, oh my gosh. And I was like, yes, I know, we are pruning these babies. Last year, and it has been quite a while that this bed has been pruned. I was talking with Cece, and so last year she was able to come through and she pruned, the hydrangeas got pruned, and then the distiliums, just those one that had those long shoots, she just kind of clipped that. So the abelias did not, the sunshine ligustrums did not, and the butterfly bushes did not get pruned. So this is something that needs to be maintained every year. Once a year, you need to come in here and prune it, and we haven't done that, and it may have been even more than 2 years. So this was long overdue. Last year, this bed looked okay. It did not look fantastic. This year, it will look amazing going in, getting everybody pruned. We're gonna get the weeds out of here. We're gonna throw down some slow release fertilizer, put down some fresh mulch, and this bed will be spectacular for the rest of the season, all the way through like mid to late November when we get a hard freeze. So again, just going in there with those distilleums, I did go ahead, I just wanted to do it by hand, because if I had used the hedge trimmers, which you totally could have, but it's kind of like when I do my tea olives, because you can't be precise. So you can see here are my cuts, right? But when you have those hedge trimmers, inevitably, obviously, you're gonna cut a ton of the leaves like in half. And then, which is fine, but in the meantime, like that leaf where you have the cut will turn brown. So it'll be super obvious that you've pruned them. This way, from a distance, I mean, honestly, it's not crazy obvious that I've just pruned it, that one, like it is the hydrangea or the butterfly bush or the sunshine ligustrums. So yeah, so that's why I did those, to keep that integrity and the prettiness as long as we can. The abelias were an absolute beast. I mean, crazy. And so just getting in there and just whacking them back, y'all. Do not be afraid to cut them. And you're gonna have beautiful foliage pop out really, really soon. I know right now that everybody is a little stark and a little naked, but I'm telling you, even though it is mid-February here, things are already popping out. Like you're having new growth. Some of the butterfly bushes were pushing out new growth. So that is kind of, you have to think of it in the gardening terms of not necessarily calendar-wise. Yeah, we're not anywhere close to spring starting officially on the calendar, but we're paying attention to the garden, right? So we've got tulips coming up. We've got daffodils that are beginning to bloom. We've got the shrubs are pushing out new growth. The weather is changing. The seasons change, obviously a lot earlier here in North Carolina than say like in Upper Michigan or Maine or New York or Oregon or wherever, right? So that's why it's hard sometimes for me to say, you need to be doing this right now, because my right now is going to be very different than your right now if you're in a different growing zone. So all this still applies to you if you're in a different growing zone. You just may do it later than I do it. The grasses, also, I was talking with Cece, the grasses were not trimmed last year, and so they were just an absolute beast. I do not know what kind of grasses these are. These grasses I, quote, inherited from Mimi. So she had these years ago in her garden. She gave me a couple I put in my garden. And when I say years, y'all, I mean like this is probably maybe 13, 14 years ago. And so at my yard is full sun, super, super happy. And all of these little plumes, when they were super happy, they had little seed heads on them and they went crazy. And I had 10 million gazillion of these grasses popping up everywhere in my garden. Not a good thing. So we dug them all up and we came and we planted them here on the bank. They don't spread here because they don't get enough sun. So it's a blessing and a curse that the sun is regulating how much they're able to produce. And so we don't have the problem of them sending out babies everywhere. If this were a full sun area, then we wouldn't have these here, because I dare say that this would be like almost like an invasive type of grass. But because of the conditions here, we're able to grow it and it does not spread at all. So it's knowing your garden, be a student of your own garden and understand how things work, and then try it. Like if we had put them here and that first year they had spread like crazy, out they come, into the trash they go. But they're really good here. And so what we did is just, you know, whacked them. We worked together as a team. Cece and I would cut, she would rake. Ideally, we would have done this before the grass started showing green. So we've got new growth in here. You want to ideally cut your perennial grasses before this starts, but it's not that bad. The idea is kind of the same thing with the Distillium. Like this green shoot right here, it got cut. So now we're gonna have a brown tip on it. But overall, it's still perfectly fine. It kind of surprises me though, that they're already pushing out that new growth, but they are. So the plan is because today's Thursday, we still have Friday before the garden center opens on Saturday. So we will come in here as a team and with some machinery to get all of this cleaned up, because this is a lot of debris. So we're gonna get it all cleaned up, blow it out. We'll see if we're able to get mulch out here tomorrow. It is so incredibly wet. I mean, like literally water is pouring out of the bank. Show you really quickly here, just some of the display of what our amazing staff got. The hellebores all lined up and they look so pretty right there. So you've got Joker right here, you've got the Ice and Roses Red, you've got Frosty back there, just absolutely stunning, gorgeous. And then pairing it up, right, with those Goshiki Osmanthus, the Everillo Carex. So this is absolutely, like, you could pair all of these together in your landscape, have those same sun conditions, and would do really well. Speaking of, Cece, I would imagine, is the one who found these over there in the pines. We have an Edgeworthia that is blooming. So this is a 3 gallon. So she's probably gonna put those in the greenhouse or do something with them. I don't know what she's gonna do with them. So you've got that Osmanthus. You have got the White by the Gate. Look at that. Isn't she beautiful? White by the Gate. And then the Greensboro Red is getting ready to explode in color. So 'tis the beautiful season of camellias here in North Carolina. Absolutely love it. Somebody was asking because today's video is when the hellebores and everything arrived. Remember, y'all, when we're down here at the garden center, what we're talking about at the garden center is garden center inventory, right? So it's rare, if ever, with the exception of the annuals, things that you see here at the garden center that are available in the exact same size for online. For example, hellebores. These hellebores are 1 gallons. Brought them in from our friends at Panoramic, right? So 1 gallon hellebores. I have hellebores online, but they're a different variety and they're a quart size. Same thing with the shrubs. I will have a shrub, let's say a pufferfish hydrangea. I have a pufferfish online and I have a pufferfish here at the garden center. However, online is always going to be a quart, and here at the garden center it's probably going to be a 3 gallon. So just keep that in mind. If we're down here at the garden center and we're talking about plants at the garden center, they're going to be garden center plants. Online is a different inventory. We have to keep them separate logistically. There's no way that we can cross back and forth. We can sell the plant 2 or 3 times, and that's not good for anybody. So just keep that in mind when we do those kind of tours here, that just because you see it here at the garden center does not mean that I can ship it to you in Washington State or something. But it has been a great day. We are all tired. We were all just joking about, because look, all those shrubs that were out there, they're all gone. So they got them all put out. Everybody is on display. You can see we've got those Forever Goldies down there with some of the gardenias and the dragon princes and those kinds of things. And then on the other side of the Kubota over here, they're there as well. So got all that stuff out. But yeah, we are some tired puppies. We see lots of Advil and Epsom salt baths in our future, because lousy, and we get to do it again tomorrow. Yay! All right, my friends, as always, and there's another truck delivery coming tomorrow too, so woohoo! Y'all have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, enjoy your night. Bye, friends.